Muy buenos días a todos los que están reunidos allá en Manizales, Colombia.
Good morning to all those who are gathered there in Manizales, Colombia. Ministers from different places. Today, Tuesday, June 11th of this year 2024. Day that also our brother Reverend José Lancheros celebrates his birthday. May God bless you greatly in this day and continue using you greatly in the work of God in this end time. You may please be seated. In the message that our brother William Soto Santiago preached to us, which he titled, "If you believe, you will see the glory of God," preached on August 14, 2009 in Acapulco, Guerrero, Mexico. He tells us in a little part here, and all of that pertains to the third pool, which will come to an end in a great tent cathedral. And it wasn't a tent of the seventh messenger of the seventh church age. He was taken in vision, visiting that place where all those things were taking place. He's going to be there when he resurrects. There is no doubt. But that is not a tent of the seventh messenger. Notice that although he will return, the seventh angel messenger, since he finished his days in this planet Earth, in his earthly body, the work and ministry that would be operating there in the great tent cathedral, it will not be the ministry under the seventh angel messenger, because his days ended. And the group of Brother Branham, notice, even after his departure, they are still thinking that he is coming back and that he is going to fulfill the remaining promises. And as he says here, of course he will return. There is no doubt about that, but not to fulfill what is yet to be fulfilled in the divine program while in these earthly bodies. They are still waiting for him to come and fulfill, for example, when he said, "From the west will come a white horse rider, will ride this trail again." They think it is Brother Branham himself that is going to come and have a ministry here on this planet Earth again. But they do not realize that the one who is speaking there is the Holy Spirit, through the mouth of the Reverend William Branham, who was the instrument of God for that time. And he spoke in that way, in which many thought that it was going to be fulfilled in him. And many even thought that when he departed, he was going to rise right there at the moment in those days. Now, for God to carry out on this planet Earth the work pertaining to the time in which one lives, it must always be in a veil of flesh that is present, not in someone who departed and then to return him back to fulfill what is yet to be fulfilled. When the days on this planet Earth are over for a human being, he then goes to paradise to rest, to the sixth dimension to rest. And all the works that he had to do on this earth are over. There is no more chance. Look, give me a little while longer, and let me go back to earth to finish the work that you are promising here that you would carry out. But notice, only Hezekiah was given time. God allowed him time. And notice that our brother William, he asked for more time. But it wasn't, if you notice, for him to fulfill that which had not yet been fulfilled, or had not yet been fulfilled in his days, such as preaching in the fulfillment of that vision, which was in a great tent cathedral. He returned for those who thought that if he left, then he had to return to fulfill that. Well, look, he left and returned again, and he did not fulfill that which was done. In other words, it is a second confirmation that he was not the one who was going to carry out that work, because if it had been him, God would have restored him and left him in the midst of the people. Therefore, he came to do a very but very important work for that time that he asked for. He asked for more time to be here. He did what he had to do and left. And his days are over, done. But there are still people waiting for him to return to fulfill what the Reverend William Branham saw. And since they are not believing what God is carrying out, and they are waiting for something else, for God to fulfill it in another way, they are waiting, let us say, they're waiting for the plane at the wrong gate, at the wrong door. It is like some people that are waiting on a gate, they're waiting for their plane, and it's the wrong one. The plane comes in the correct gate, gets the passenger, and leaves, and the other one is waiting there on the other gate, and somebody may ask him, "What are you doing here?" "I'm waiting for the plane that's going to such a place." And he says, "The plane is long gone." Now, you will notice one has to expect the promises in the right time and in the way that God would fulfill them. Now, in order to see the glory of God in this end time, it is required to believe in the way and in the manner that God would be carrying it out, and is carrying it out. If they do not believe, they will not see the glory of God. They can search for messages. They can search and search and search and search, trying to justify their unbelief and trying to show where their faith is based, but they will never, ever see the glory of God. As he said to a person, you're not going to see the third pool. You have to pray to see if God will let you see it. But notice, it's not for the one who wills and the ones who runs. It is not for the one who wishes, but it is because God has mercy. And that's why I have always said that we are more than blessed, for God has given us the blessedness to see, receive, and believe all that was promised, which He is fulfilling at this time. Now, if it was not of our brother Branham, and it was not of our brother William because he left, then there must be another veil of flesh where he will fulfill that promise. He continues saying, but that is not a tent of the seventh messenger. That will be a tent cathedral of one who will come after the seventh angel messenger of the seventh church age among the Gentiles. Now, if one is going to come after the seventh angel messenger of the seventh age, then he must be the one he foreshadowed, as in the time of Jesus. John the Baptist came as a forerunner of the first coming of the Lord. After John had to come the one for whom John was forerunning. Now, there was a character there, which was Gabriel, who was bringing the good tidings to Mary. That character is the one that in this end time the church bride, by identifying the work that he carried out, they can see the full picture of who was the forerunner, who was the one that brought the good tidings, and who was the one that Brother Branham foreshadowed. Who is the one foreshadowed? Notice yesterday I was writing some notes in a notebook, and we can put them later. Talking about this now, I was writing that, about this that we are precisely talking about. And notice, I'm going to read them to you so that you may have them as well there. It says, every messenger, since appearing on this planet Earth, came with a conviction that in him and in his time, all that had been promised before him would be fulfilled. And at the end, the reason and purpose for which they had appeared was completely open to them. They struggled. They spoke like if those promises were going to be fulfilled in them, like the greatest one of all, the coming of the Messiah in his first and in his second coming. Remember David? He spoke as if the coming of the Messiah was being fulfilled in him. When he said, "They pierced my hands and my feet," he spoke being inspired because it was the Spirit of Christ in him. And I continue reading from the writing, and even Brother Branham, he also thought that he was the one in whom God would fulfill everything, since he tried to go to Israel. And to Israel is going to be Moses and Elijah, Revelation 11. And Revelation 11 is the coming of the Lord. And he understood that it was Elijah. That is, he understood he was Elijah, but in its fifth manifestation. And I continue reading. And Brother William also thought that he was the one in whom God would fulfill everything. He was the closest who came. But after that, God showed him who he was and which work he came to carry out, which he openly spoke about it at the end of 2016. And today, the last of the prophets, the Benjamín, would be the one to fulfill that promise. After him, there is no one else. Therefore, through the beloved wife, Rachel, he had two sons, Joseph and Benjamin, the first and the last. In other words, that's the Alpha and Omega. After that, she had no more sons, so much so that she died in Benjamin's birth. Type and figure that no more prophets would come through the church. Notice this. Yesterday, I wrote this straight. And if you notice, then Rachel had no more children. She only had two. And she died. In other words, what that represents is that after that last messenger, the church bride will not give birth to any more prophet son, but that would be the last dispensational messenger prophet. Now, notice what he continues saying here to finish this short greeting. He says, "There we will see the glory of God manifested. We will also see not only resurrections, but also by the creative word, a countless of wonders, miracles, and salvation for many people. It will be of help for the human beings. Therefore, if you believe, you will see the glory of God. If you do not believe, you will not see the glory of God." So, always believing in the promises that God promised to be fulfilled in this end time, we keep holding on to them, believing them wholeheartedly. And if we do not understand something, we remember the words Jesus said to Peter, "Peter, what you do not understand now, you will understand later." What corresponds to each one of his children is to believe them wholeheartedly, to receive them in the heart. And around that word, God is going to work and bring forth that faith to be born, based on that promise, to receive all that God promised for the believer. So continue on, seeing the glory of God being manifested in the great tent cathedral. The glory of God manifested in the great tent cathedral. May God bless you and keep you all. And thank you very much for this opportunity. You allow me to send these words of greetings to all of you there in Manizales, and to our brother Miguel Bermúdez Marín as well, wherever he is, and to all the ministers and all the brothers and sisters in the different countries. May God bless you and keep you all.